In other news at this hour, top officials from the world's two largest democracies held ministerial-level talks in Washington, D.C. after their leaders from India and U.S. discussed their differences over the Ukraine war. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin, Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar and Indian Defense Minister Rajnath Singh met at the State Department for 2+2 format talks. The talks were held amid a raging war in Eastern Europe. Biden has been pressurizing world leaders to take a hard line against Moscow. The United States is seeking more help from India in condemning and even applying economic pressure on Russia for invading Ukraine. But India has tried to balance its ties with Russia and the West. Unlike other members of the Quad countries, the United States, Japan and Australia, it has not imposed sanctions on Russia. India's import of Russian oil remains the point of contention between New Delhi and Washington. Even though India receives little of its oil from Russia, it recently stepped up with a major purchase as other democracies are trying to isolate Putin. India has bought at least 30 million barrels of Russian crude oil since the invasion in late February, compared with some 16 million barrels for the whole of last year. During a joint press conference with Indian counterpart S. Jaishankar, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said that democracies should stand together to face Russian President Vladimir Putin. Blinken said that Washington is asking allies not to increase Russian oil purchases, but India's Jaishankar resisted against concerns on India's energy purchases from Russia. The India Foreign Minister said that the focus should be on Europe and not India when it comes to energy imports from Russia. Jaishankar claimed that Europe buys more energy from Russia than India does.
When it comes to oil purchases, sanctions, etc., I just note that there are carve-outs for energy purchases. Of course, we're encouraging countries not to purchase additional energy supplies from Russia. Every country is differently situated, has different needs, requirements, but we're looking to allies and partners not to increase their purchases of Russian energy.
If you are looking at energy purchases from Russia, I would suggest that your attention should be focused on Europe, which probably we do buy some energy which is necessary for our energy security. But I suspect, looking at the figures, probably our total purchases for the month would be less than what Europe does in an afternoon.
Notably, ahead of the talks, White House reportedly stated that New Delhi's energy imports from Moscow don't violate United States sanctions. White House has also added that the U.S. would be happy to help in diversifying India's energy imports. We're still on that, and earlier we spoke with international affairs expert and fellow at Australia-India Institute, Kadira Pethiagoda, and this is what he had to say.
Yes, well, I think that really highlights the most important aspect to the United States of its relationship with India, which is being able to seek to balance the power of China in Asia. And I think that's really why we've seen throughout the years that the United States takes a very deferential role to India, at least since the Indo-US nuclear deal, where when India has trade deals with countries like Iran, the United States has been quite gentle in its response to India. We've only seen that change in recent months, where it took a more a more full-throated approach to India's relationship with Russia. But even that, we've seen Blinken today in these 2+2 talks trying to sort of walk that back a little bit and being quite respectful towards India and acknowledging that India has a long relationship with Russia. And the reason for that is because of China. And China really is the factor that brings India and the United States together in terms of strategic cooperation.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.